Hey guys, Jen here. So this is an add-on to the earlier live stream. Sometimes I forget things that I wanted to include, or sometimes I will just do an upload and a live. That way the people that miss the live stream can kind of get a summary. I will try to organize those accordingly as well. So this goes with the stream from today. It is more testimony, and again, I need input from you guys. Are you seeing things like this in your area? Or, are you having high strangeness, supernatural activity, synchronicities, paranormal activity? What are you actually seeing with your eyes? Because we're seeing a whole bunch of things in video on TikTok and YouTube, Snapchat. But what's happening in real time in your life, that you can see, touch, observe, feel, taste sometimes. And there are certain things that will clue you into what's going on, even smells around you, sulfur and other smells that unclean spirits carry. I'll get into that later. This isn't going to be too long. Again, if you missed the earlier stream, this is kind of an add-on to that. It didn't get very many views, but I did not think that one would. Whenever I talk about the houseless situation or the homeless minority, the videos don't get pushed. They don't get seen as much. And you see channels that start just in 2 years, they have, 500,000 followers. It's all set up. It's because they avoid certain things. They might give you one truth, and then the rest of what they're telling you is garbage, or vice versa sometimes. It can be hard to detect, but we're having this celebrity culture. Everybody's, exposing Hollywood, but now these same people, these, regular Joes from YouTube and whatnot that are becoming mainstream are going to have the same problem, with being able to be bought off because they like their possessions, or they don't want to lose things, they don't want things taken from them. And that's just what happens when you stand for truth and when you want the lies exposed. And I think we're in a generation that is a generation of exposing, and I talked about this probably 2 years ago, right before CV hit on the main channel on Brie and Jen. There are still some videos up there. I upload some prayers and readings and whatnot still from time to time. I'll try to do something a little more regular, but I find that when I stick to a routine or a schedule, that's when it's easier for certain things to interfere with my life. Lower level entities or low level energy, negative energies, will start to intercede at that point. What do I want to go over? Well, again, this is part testimony, part current events. Now, I don't know what's happening. Am I manifesting these things by saying them? Are our phones, do they have these sentient beings from the internet, these lower level entities that manifest in like this black goo and this sulfur smell and sometimes bodily fluid smells? Unclean spirits, that's what that points you to. Some people will say they got an addiction, they got a drug problem, they're sick. And I'm not saying sickness, it falls upon the just and the unjust. What I am saying, though, is it's caused by sin either in the environment, and by that I mean going against natural law, right? And you come into agreement with these things. Sometimes you're at a place, for example, and I didn't say anything at the time because at the time, to me, Wiccans were peaceful, right? That's how I learned about Wicca. I studied it. It's all about nature, and the main tenet of Wicca is to harm none. That is not the same thing as Luciferianism and Satanism. Because again, I studied it for a very long time. Now, can it get dark? Absolutely. But it's really not. If you look in the Old Testament and even the New Testament, they use gemstones and they cast lots, right? Which is basically drawing straws or even casting lots with letters and phrases on them. And I've shown you how that is done. So we have to be very careful in labeling people and groups and things because there's a darkness in a shadow to every thing of light, right? That there is everything has a shadow, I guess. So what does this have to do with squatters' rights? I didn't know this was a thing. Now, basically, the more I learn, the more I see that America is a very new nation we've micromanaged ourselves, and we've micromanaged ourselves into corners with these little laws that intercede with our daily life instead of just sticking to the basics, right? Don't steal from your neighbor, right? Don't hurt your neighbor. Don't kill anybody. Basics that most people can agree on. This I didn't know was a thing. And it's becoming more prevalent. And I didn't know this. And now, me personally, I don't believe that anyone can own land. I believe that we should share it just like water. It's a natural resource. I believe there's plenty here for everybody. The problem, again, is coveting and people wanting what other people have. And the people who are the younger generation who is being fooled and thinking we're overpopulated, we are just condensed, right? The density in the cities is high. But there is a whole country out there that hasn't even been, really claimed yet. And the federal land that's set aside and the reservations, it's my opinion. I don't want to own land. I don't think that's something for me personally that I should do. I don't drive because I don't want to operate something that operates off of dead animals. That's what fossil fuel is to me, is dead beings. And so I stay away from those things. I also don't vote because I think that spiritually binds you to that person. Ask yourself why my videos are so hidden, right? I understand that I don't have a posh setup, but I was doing face-to-face videos with notes and printouts. And still, the channel did not grow. Every time I got 2 subscribers, 1 would go. Every single day almost. So for every 2 or 3 I get, there's another 2 or 3 gone. And this continues on for years and years. Anytime you see something trend, you should run, not walk the other way. I've said this over and over. And it's not that I'm right about everything. It's that I've experienced it, and I'm trying to tell people, hey, don't walk off the cliff. I've been down there, and it's no good. You don't want to go that way. So under adverse possession laws, squatter rights in Ohio allow a person to claim legal ownership of a property after occupying it for a certain period. In Ohio, this period is set at a minimum of 21 years. Hold, because every state has them. I didn't know this. So let's see. What is the shortest time for squatter rights? How long does it take to get squatter rights in the U.S.? The minimum time frame for a squatter to establish certain legal protections is typically 30 days. After 30 days of occupation, a squatter may gain the right to be a formal eviction process before being removed. So you can't just kick people out, even if it's your property. What I don't understand about this is if you're one of the people who works very hard, even if you're in a gated community and you go away on vacation, somebody can overtake your house. I've watched several videos on it, and of course, it started happening in Portland. Now, again, the spiritual, when things manifest in the physical, and they're shown to us through the media, it's a skewed framework, right? You take a picture, you put it in a frame, and you tell people this is what it is. Take the frame that they're giving you off of it. BLM. It's not about Black Lives Matter, although that's, they do matter. But the BLM you should be paying attention to is the Bureau of Land Management. Again, there are a lot of people who are very angry. The problem here is that none of us were held in slavery, none of us that are here now, right? And none of us are the ones who overtook others, as far as I know. Now, are things happening, domestically? Absolutely. I go through that all the time myself. So your life isn't meant to be, every way you want it. But this is the Wild West. And I'm starting to see that it's not just the internet that isn't regulated. Basic things like this, when you buy a house and when you work all those years for it and you own it, people can still gain legal ownership over your house after you paid for it. And they're all different. All the laws for every state is a little different. Oh, an Airbnb squatter. A woman who lived in paradise rent-free for 570 days finally left after a long legal battle with the landlord. Finally moved out on Friday. And that was from 2023. Can police remove squatters in Texas? In most states, I think it says they have to have a warrant. Can they remove people in New York? They cannot unilaterally evict or evicted by the police. There is a need for a court process, a judicial eviction, right? They have to get the paperwork. Is squatting a crime in the U.S.? Most states, squatting can be prosecuted as criminal trespass, entering land or property without consent, which is usually a misdemeanor. Some states have made squatting its own crime as a specific type of trespass. Now, again, why am I showing you this? Because I think we are literally in the Wild West. And I said that the other day to somebody. So this is the part of the testimony that goes with this. Now, again, either I'm the most psychic person in the world, right? And I am creating my own reality every day by the things I speak. Or my phone is showing me the things that I talk about and search about and see. So it's showing me this reality that isn't real, right? So I said that the other day. And of course, the phones are everywhere. The devices are everywhere. I said it's like the Wild Wild West. Someone comes home the other day and says, we got a lot of fairs going on right now, county fairs, town fairs, city fairs, church fairs, parish fairs. And the one that's in my town, there's going to be a float. And my kids were in one before. My spouse was in one in PA when we lived there. It's like a thing. I don't know. Again, these patterns seem to repeat themselves. But their float is going to be the Wild West. Now, again, these things keep happening. And the girl at work that was talking about, oh, well, I told him everything that was going to happen, and I predict everything that's going to happen, and I was just getting tattooed, and my husband gives tattoos, and she's got the red hair. Now, again, I'm not saying it's her specifically out to harm me or gaslight me. It is the spirit of this thing, and these patterns keep repeating, and they're rippling outward. The question is, how do we stop them, right? Well, one of the best ways is to ignore them. You don't want to be set off. You don't want to be triggered, anything like that. That is the only way through this, is to forgive each other and to not be baited, right? To keep control, self-control, right? Because there's a lot going on right now. And I feel it's important to share these bits of testimony with you, the things that I see and hear with my eyes and ears, in real life, in real time, as part of my ongoing testimony. Again, so other people can avoid the traps and snares I fell into, and also because I believe God asked me to do this. And just speak on and point, inconsistencies out and expose certain things that are going on. And again, this Antichrist spirit, it talks to me through a variety of people, and it's legion. It always sounds the same. So I don't want to say any of these individuals is the AC, but for whatever reason, they want me to believe that it's in my family. And I do take that very personally. I know I'm not supposed to, but again, is this gaslighting? Is this some, elaborate plan or scheme? I don't think so, because I'm a nobody, right? Like, I'm a broken person. God just asked me to talk about the things I saw with my own eyes, and, when prophetic things are coming to pass. But again, prophecy does not have to happen. People are given that and given warnings so that we can avoid it. The Hopi prophecy telling us that there are two paths to take is much like the book of Revelation, John's Apocalypse, and that has a lot in common and in parallel with the end days spoken of and described in the Quran. So they want you to think all these things are evil, but if you put them all together and you look at all of this, you get a bigger picture of what's happening, and you start to understand that humanity itself becomes enslaved over and over and over again, and God sets us free. But we keep coming back because of our lust for shiny things, much like Pinocchio went to, Pleasure Island, okay? I talk about that all the time. And that's why they hate Disney. They hate anything that is for children. They're ruining anything that has to do with them because they're pure and innocent, and they know that it will bait us and set us off. They don't have legal grounds to do you any physical harm, and I don't think they can supersede your free will unless you allow them to. So again, retain that free will of yours. Choose every day to give it to the light and not the dark. And again, we're going to mess up. We're going to fall. We're going to stumble. But just do your best not to hurt anybody else. I honestly think that forgiveness is pretty much the only way forward through this. All right, so I just wanted to go over that and show it to you guys so you're aware of things that are happening out there. We are going to look into creating reality. I'm going to show you the Dane Kuntz books that are basically the Whisper Room is targeted individuals. I think it's Snowbound that talks about the V in Wuhan, okay? And even the Menendez brothers, the ones who off their parents, they wrote a script before that ever happened, and that was in the script. So are we, in essence, creating our own lives here through what we write and through what we utter and speak? And how do we gain control over that? We're going to do some experiments. All right, that's enough. I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.